I'm Andrew Houston here from Profit for Contractors, and we are with the Profit for Contractors podcast. We're all about helping you guys, get insights, literally from, I call it tradie tips from the trenches, to help you guys move your business forward, to help you have a better business, a better life. And, with that being said, one of the things we like to do is bring people that are part of the Profit for Contractors family to the forefront to get you guys to understand that, what's possible, what's real. How difficult or how easy and some of the impacts has had on their aspects of their business and their life. And we've got a beautiful couple here. We have Josette, we have Marc. LeBlanc, if you guys would like to maybe introduce yourself as far as the company you have, a little about who you guys are, your relationship, stuff like that, that'd be awesome. So welcome. Tell us about yourself.
Hey, Andrew. So basically, myself, I've been in the contractor business, used to be a home builder. We jumped into renovations where we seen a good niche coming along. I have now 11 employees working for me. And also now my wife is thinking hardly of joining the team. She's some potential with this program of yours and looking forward to continuing this program.
Awesome. I didn't know that, Josette. I didn't know that you had just come onto the team.
I'm a full-time realtor, and we've been investing in buying a few properties and obviously did some work along the ways together. But crazy enough, as it sounds, we've both kind of gone our own directions as opposed to blending our our skills together to make a stronger team. And we've gone through the school of hard knocks for the last 10 years. And as Marc said, seeing what is possible now is enlightening and motivating to see how we can both work together and achieve new heights together.
That's awesome. I love it. So just so that everybody's aware listening in on this podcast, this is part of a series of podcasts, like a specific set of series. There's going to be 4 of them. And when we're looking at this series, I decided to interview people that are part of the Profit for Contractors family that have been with us for different periods of time. So I've looked at, people that have made progress, in being with us in just weeks, people that have been with us for months, people who have been with us for a year, people who have been with us for years, so that when you're listening in on this, I put it together in all honesty, and there might be some cursing and swearing that comes out of my mouth when I start getting passionate. The guys, I can't help it. It's just part of me, is to eliminate, I think one of the purposes of these podcasts is to eliminate bullshit. The bullshit that we tell ourselves as contractors, as owners of, that's going to take too long, or, is that just like a magic pill and then, later on it's going to go away. So I wanted to share with everybody that this is the real deal, okay? Whether or not you raise your hand to get some help from us at Profit for Contractors, it's totally up to you. Like, honestly, I'm just hoping that you're going to take some of these strategies and realize that, this is the real thing. That you can, in this case, today's going to be about, you guys are going to be part of the very first part of the series, which is all about how you can go from, in your case, I just thought of this now, from decades to weeks, literally in progress. What do I mean by that? What do you guys think I mean by that?
Well, what I feel is that we've had 10 years experience in doing the same old, getting the same old results, and sometimes not as good results. So we've had our share of experience in terms of losses and seeing some, tidbits of success here and there with some profitable years, but nowhere near where we need to be or should be. With the skills and the experience that we have, we should be able to attain better results. So in the very short time that we've been with Profit for Contractors, I guess it's taking the complete overwhelm. Where do I even start to get this ship back so that it's going on the right path, to picking a few simple things and get started, and seeing some small incremental things that we can implement that have in some cases, big results, and also giving us a little bit of motivation and inspiration to carry forward and push forward, because we think that there's more to be had.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so you guys have been with us for a little over 3 weeks. Is that right? Yeah. So let's get into some of anything you'd add to that, Mark? Anything you want to say to that?
Basically, in the first 3 weeks, I went from make a decision at 9 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night where 10 staff members was going to be the next day, finding out if the material was going to, I knew I had to get up early to go pick up the material, have it there. So once they go in, and that's just a small amount of what you guys have trained us in the last 3 weeks. I went from 3 weeks ago not having a schedule to 6 weeks scheduled in front of me. I know my cash flow for the next 4 weeks. I know my projections for the next 4 weeks, and I know who I can pay in the next 30 days.
I love it. Okay, so let's get rocking and rolling with this. So just so everybody knows, this is, again, the real deal. These are real people that own a contracting company that have been in the trenches, not for a week or two. Oh, they're just newbies. No, they've been doing this for 10 years, okay? And I got to tell you, I did it for 10 years myself, the hard way. The hard way. And when I talk about the hard way, we talk a lot about business, but let's talk about, when we look at, I think a lot, not a lot, but some of the aspects of what you guys were dealing with was a form of chaos. Mm-hmm. True?
Yeah.
So when you look at chaos and you look at, the struggles of, you tried. You guys are, and by the way, you guys are super smart people. This is what I want other people to understand. And even though you're smart people, the reality is that some of the things that we've applied to you guys that you've learned in a very specific sequence, like a recipe, how would you, and be straight up with me, okay? Be straight up with me. Would they be way over the average person's head, or are they things that make sense where it's oh my God, okay, I get what I got to do. And I mean that, be straight up with me. How's the training, with some of these things that you've learned and then implemented from a comprehension perspective?
So Andrew, to talk about that, first thing I'll admit, I never finished grade 12. I don't have a business degree. I make $1 million in sales and not knowing where I'm going from month to month, trying to run this, and I've been doing this for decades. My wife has a good background in businesses because she's gone through the programs, universities, and different things. But I tried to run $1 million business with no education whatsoever. So saying that to what the question you just asked me, if I didn't finish school and I get this at the top of my...
You guys are nailing it, by the way. You guys are I'm telling you. What did I say to you on the last, and just let people understand, I won't go into depth into everything I highlight, especially if there's terminology, but I don't want people listening and going, what the hell is he talking about? So we have a process. It's called an onboarding process. And anybody that's part of the Profit for Contractors family, at some point, not right away, but at some point, you're going to learn, especially when you go to hiring, finding, retaining, creating an A grade, or an A team. I used to watch the old A Team TV show, loved it, right? I have the song going through my head, right? Murdoch, right? Mr. T, all those guys. Anyways, okay, now I'm dating myself. But, when we're looking at building that A team, one of the key things you need to do is you need to onboard people successfully. You need to set them up for success, bringing them onto your team. So we have at Profit Contractors called the New Client Onboarding System, and we just don't teach it, we follow it, okay? And it's all about making sure that people have a process, they have steps. There's an order in which they do things. So, when you look at this training, I think it's really important that if you are going to reach out to somebody and you're listening in on this, and again, no pressure, anybody listening in, you can reach out to us, you don't have to reach out to us. But if you reach out to anybody or somebody's helping you and they do not have some sort of recipe, or they don't have some sort of order, what would you say to them, Josette and Mark? What would you say? Oh, we're just going to address things as they come up versus following a process.
Well, I think the process makes sense because you need to somehow get organized. And one of the first things that we did was, what is it that we want? So starting with our vision, like where do we want to be? What kind of company do we want to be? And I think that's kind of the first step. And then working our way backwards from there. So we looked at, okay, well, where do we think we can be in a year? If everything goes well, what do we see ourselves doing in 3 years? And then scaling back, and it's like, okay, well, knowing that that's kind of where we'd like to be, where do we want to be in the next 90 days? And then kind of working backwards and building our schedule from there. And then it kind of puts things in perspective in terms of what are the things that you need to implement right away and set up as priorities so that you can be there in 90 days or 30 days or a year or 3 years.
Totally. So, and, I think when we look at this, and we're going to get into some specific tactics, okay? I think if you've been listening to any of my podcasts, okay, I want everybody to, or if you haven't, this is one of the key things. I hate bullshit in the sense of people just yapping and not, oh, you got to ask this question. I'm not saying questions aren't important. They're freaking critically important, but I want everybody listening in to know we're going to be giving away tactics. We're going to go behind the scenes, under the hood, go, here's what they did. Here's, they did this, these are the tactics, okay? So keep listening in. If you guys want to get more insights, more help, client, if you're a family member or not, down below in the comments section of the podcast will be any of the links that I mentioned. One of them is going to be the Contractors Workshop, and you guys can get access to the trainings, the insights, all the different tools and what have you that Mark and Josette are going to be touching on today. So with that being said, setting your vision, setting your compass for where you're trying to go is so critically important. Mark, why, what about that resonated with you? Why is that so important to set that compass?
It makes a lot extra free time to me to concentrate on stuff that should be important and I should be doing instead of doing stuff that I'm not supposed to be doing.
I love it.
And going from 80 hours to 50 hours a week.
So when you look at setting your compass, when you look at setting, where it is that you're trying to go, mm-hmm. I mean, everybody understand that yes, it's important to set, if you can, to try and set a 1 year compass of like, hey, here's where we want to go. But I also want everybody to understand that some people listening in on this, you might really struggle in doing that. You might not have a partnership like Josette and Mark, and you might be by yourself. You might be listening in and going like, man, I wouldn't even know where to start. So a lot of books, I'm not bashing all these books out there, but I'm just going to say I don't agree with certain things. If a person can't see a certain distance, they can't see a certain distance. If you've got bad eyesight, no matter how much somebody points at that, in my case, the turkey or the deer or a balloon or whatever, if the person doesn't have the set of lenses to see it and it's too far, even though the other person's like, it's right there, man. Can't you see it? I'm pointing at it. And the other person goes, I can't see it. I'm looking, and the other person grabs their head and goes, no, right there. And it's like, I still can't see it. Why is that? Why does this analogy have anything to do with this? You can only see as far as you can see. People can ask you questions about, hey, I want to set this 1 year vision. But if you really struggle and your mind is not ready for it, it's not ready for it. It's okay. So then you keep coming back in time, right? Where do you want to be in 90 days? And you might be listening, somebody might be listening in right now going, yeah, I can think about where I want to be in 90 days, or what are the maybe even the easier question, what are the things I want changed in 90 days? So, but not having a plan, no offense, not acceptable. From this point on, you guys know this, right? It's unacceptable for anybody listening in, especially if you have a team. Why is that, Josette?
Because we owe it to our employees. They look up to us. They want to know where we're going. Do they have a job in 3 months? What's the plan for them? Should they be looking for other work? Are they going to be satisfied? And do they see themselves working here full time? We owe it to them as well as to ourselves.
Man, you brought up something that I just had a flashback of. One of the family members, and maybe some of you guys listening have seen a testimonial or interview with Debbie and Joe, but I'll never forget Debbie and Joe, JMC Electric, saying to me, Andrew, after I started putting up the Progress to Profit board, okay, after I started sharing with the guys every week what it is that we had to focus in on, after I started sharing, like, here's the work that we got for the next month or two, he says a couple of the clients came, a couple of the employees came up to me and said, Steve that quit? I was like, yeah. Jim that quit? Yeah. And those were, by the way, A-grade employees. The other employees, this employee comes up and goes, just to let you know, they would still be here if you hadn't been sharing that. And Joe was like, what are you talking about? It's like, Joe, we had no clue if we had work or not. I mean, I swear to God, Josette, the guys have got to, they got to feed their families. And with all the chaos that was going on, Joe, you didn't know it, but the energy that you were showing and not communicating anything except for where we had to go that day made us feel like every day was the last day that we had work. And Joe was like, what the fuck, right? Beep, right? He's like, but I've got like 4 months worth of work. And the guy's like, I know that now. None of us knew it then. He's like, oh my God. Well, good news. Joe ended up getting back both those guys. So that's good news, right? But everybody listening, Mark, if I said to you, hey man, meet me tomorrow. And I said to you, I have all the answers to all of your problems. I am the genie from the bottle. And let's just say that it existed. And I said, just meet me. What's the problem with that?
I don't know what I'm going into.
Right. What time? Where?
No plan.
Right. You wouldn't know. Well, am I going to take a train, a plane, a car? Are you around the corner from me? Seriously, guys. Okay? That's the genie in the bottle story. What about your job? So one of the things that you guys implemented, I promise everybody listening in that we talk about tactics. Let's talk about this thing called the Monday morning meeting, part of the top 5, I like to call it money-making meetings. So tell us about, how did that change things for you?
So basically, we've only been doing it for a couple of weeks. Basically, I show up Monday morning, have a staff meeting with the whole staff, and I give them a schedule for a full week, something I've never done in 13 years in business. They know where they're going. What we also talked about is how much work we had for the next 6 months ahead of us. And they were all like, eyes wide open, what Josette just talked about. They want to know where they stand in 3 months and 6 months from now. Do you have any work, or are you going to go through chaos and we don't know what's going on next month?
And can you imagine, like, with this, and for those listening in, this is going to be a moment in history, right, with this COVID-19 situation, okay? Somebody might be listening on this podcast like 5 years from now, and it's like, oh my God, like, yeah. So everybody understand that, like, these are really, really challenging times for a lot of people. It's even more important during challenging times that you up your communication. True?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And why do I say that? What makes me say that?
Well, I think that, people not knowing, like, first of all, there was lots of restrictions, and still are some restrictions with social distancing and whether you can work and do you need protective equipment in order to work. And for employees to know, are they going to get a paycheck? Will they be working? Do we proceed in the same fashion that we did? Or now do we need to train to let people know that they have to work 6 feet apart and they have to wear gloves, they have to wear a mask. We have to put signs on the property.
Totally.
All that stuff.
Huge, right? So when you come up with a plan, again, this is one of the tactics, right? So we're in a couple of tactics here, so we're clear. One is you need to know where you're going. Okay? Dial it down to a level that stretches you, makes you a little bit uncomfortable, maybe excited, nervous, that you're on the right spot. If you're super scared and lost and your brain's not jiving, it's just like in a stalled state, you've gone too far. Don't listen to all that bullshit of you got to have this 5-year, 10-year vision. I can list off all this stuff, the big hairy BHAGs, big hairy audacious goals. Oh yeah, no problem, right? All that kind of stuff. I'm not saying you don't want to get there. You do. Of course you do. Of course you do. I have a vision beyond me being alive. Okay? I have a vision that this is a legacy. That when my feet are in the ground, right? I've helped over 100,000 contractors have a better life, a better business. That's a big vision. Man, how the fuck are you going to achieve that? About a year ago, I didn't really know. I'm figuring it out. Because it's a big, big goal. But I'm able to see that far, right? Right? So number one, have a goal, okay? You can call it a vision, that allows you to stretch your thinking for bigger opportunities of where it is you want to be. What were some of the areas that you guys talked about on that note that when you're setting your compass, like, what were some of the things? I know, like, how much profit, how much sales. What were some of the other things you two discussed as a couple?
Just some key hiring of the team. Team composition. How many people should we have going forward? We don't have a foreman today. We don't have a project manager. We don't have an estimator. That's all Mark and part of the chaos that we're living today. So how do we get from here to there? At least we've identified what's out there. And now we need to work our way backwards to build the team and the momentum in order to achieve that.
I love it. So on that note, how important is it that part of that plan includes, goals / visions on the personal side?
Very important.
If you could be on this side, Mark, you see Josette's face just go, very got one, right? So what elaborate, tell me about that. Why is it important for you you guys are married, right? Let's get right into that level. Why is it important for you as a wife, as a partner?
Well, I think that for everybody that's an entrepreneur or in business that has any ambition, you can get carried away and with your business, and you can get overwhelmed and make that your number one priority. And I think we all need to be careful to make sure that it's not the be all end all. We need to make sure that we have goals outside of work. So whether it's, spending family time, game night, or, going out on a date, that kind of stuff, so that we can appreciate, what we're working to achieve. So that it's a more balanced life. And I think that we'll be better business people, better entrepreneurs, if we can learn to balance and not be as lopsided as we have been, just in terms of just focusing on the business. Gives us a different perspective, and I guess clears our mind to be a little bit more creative also at work and bring new ideas.
Love it. Mark, what would you add to that?
Just spending more quality time. Like you said, we've only been in it for 3 weeks. We've been talking about going for walks and doing exercise and going to the movies and going to restaurants, and being both self-entrepreneur, we haven't been doing it. And in 3 weeks, even through this COVID, we still go for a walk with our dog like 4 or 5 nights a week. Every weekend since 2 weeks ago, we set a time for our 2 boys to play a game night on Friday night or Saturday night to their choosing.
How old are your boys?
24 and 20.
Love it. Love it. Okay, so everybody listening in, if somebody tells you that you should only and I've heard this from certain people, where they're like, listen, you just got to focus on the business and you got to separate the two. Bullshit. I call another bullshit. Okay, if there's one type of fuel that will ignite, that will allow you to break the chains of resistance, of increase resiliency, and push you forward, it's when you can put the two together. What am I talking about? We're having this. Let's use the Monday morning meeting. Okay, Monday morning meetings. Everybody listening in, if you want to get your hands on this, you can go to the link below in the description. Top 5 money making meetings, or even just better yet, just go to the Contractors workshop where the training's there, the tools are there. The point is this: the Monday morning meeting. If we just made it just specifically about just this, its purpose being to define what the success of the week has to look like versus what the success of the week has to look like, so that on the business front, it can feed us having the freedom to do the shit on the family front, so that we're not working to 8 o'clock in the freaking night doing paperwork because we weren't organized, everybody, because we're trying to track change orders that we lost because the guys weren't organized, because we never even told the guys what the fucking jobs were, what was included, what wasn't included, where the paperwork was, what got ordered, what didn't get ordered, and who's stuck doing all the heavy lifting after the fucking lights go out and then come back on is who? You guys, the entrepreneurs. So doing these things, there's 3 core things that you guys have been aware of, that I know they're not the only things, but I attribute them. Where do I get this up? I just get it because it comes from when I had my business. It comes from talking to a lot of entrepreneurs that are contractors, because that's all the only people that we help, is these 3 things. We became entrepreneurs so that we could be in control. We are control freaks to a certain degree, right? Like to do it our way. My wife's asked me several times, what do you think it'd be like you working for somebody? And I just start laughing. She's like, yeah, you do that all the time. I'm like, the day that I work for somebody, babe, that'd be a different day. Maybe for my kids, but that has a different purpose. But it's just not in me. Now, I'd pump fuel at a gas station if I had to. We're not below anything, right? We'll do whatever the fuck it takes. But when you can tag those goals, those changes to your company, to how it's going to impact you in your life, why not make a Monday morning meeting with your spouse, people listening in, to go, hey, what are we going to do together this week? Well, right? True?
Oh, yeah.
Right. So Monday morning meeting, setting targets, like goals. Base your goals as much as you can, tag the 2 together, because it will give you incredible strength to push through. Because I'm not going to tell you on this call, and I won't let you guys say it on this call, that some of these things don't come with nervousness and challenge and pushback. And is it true?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what were some of the other things? Let's talk about delegation. Like, that's a big one. That's a big one. Like, people, I hear it all the time. How many of you guys, this resonates with you? I can't delegate anything to anybody. If I want it done, I might as well, what is it?
Do it myself.
That's it. You got the tattoo. Love it. So tell us about delegation. You were able to delegate within the last few weeks, different things, right?
Yes, sir.
Tell us about that. What were some of those things?
So basically, being a control freak, didn't want to do it for a decade. And just in the last couple of weeks, little things where you made me realize that spending that type of time picking up materials or ordering materials, getting things done on the job site. You taught me how to get who were my A players, and from my A players, make them be accountable for what they do.
I love it.
And it freed up a lot of time.
Yeah, I want you to tell us the time, because you were on the new client onboarding, and it's just yesterday.
Yep.
And it was, I think, Josette, I think you were typing in, weren't you? Or somebody was. But you guys typed in, Josette. How many hours did you, so one of the other things, and everybody listening in, you might be like, okay, what was that? What was that? Well, guys, this is the beautiful thing about a podcast. Hit the pause button, grab a pen, write her down, right? Famous Irish comedian my grandfather always loved was this guy that he always used to say, write her down, right? Write her down. So when we look at how much time you were spending, one of the things that we did was we had you do what? A time audit.
Yep.
Okay. Tell us about that time audit. What was that? What is it? Go ahead.
Last week was my first week doing a full week, like from Monday to Friday. And so basically you taught me to take notes, what I'm doing during the course of a whole day, from whatever time that I wake up till I complete my day's work. So last week on Friday, I started looking where I could delegate things that was not as important to me as a business owner and give it to somebody else on the team. The biggest thing I noticed after a week was I had spent 16 hours during Monday through Friday chasing for materials for the staff. 16 hours.
Everybody listen to this. Not in a month, everybody. I just want to be clear with what Mark just said. 16 hours. 16 hours spent on getting material. So 16 hours. What went through your head when you saw the 16 hours?
Made me
A few swear words.
Yeah.
Tabernacle.
That's right.
It was crazy when I realized how much time I had put. And if it would have been my mind, I probably would have assumed it was 5 or 6.
Okay, so everybody, this is super important that you get. You want to get control of your time. Now, just say, Josette, have you tracked your time?
Nope.
Josette, are you going to track your time? Are you going to track your time?
I'm going to track my time.
Why would you track your time?
Because I have goals also. And I think that there's some opportunities for me to manage my time better, and some time wasters that probably get the better of my schedule sometimes without me acknowledging it. So I think this is kind of like a come to Jesus opportunity for me to see kind of what.
Hallelujah. Do you see the light, brother? No. Okay. I'm going to add to this. Now, everybody listening in, you guys are going to experience a little bit of coaching. So, here's the funny thing. When you can do some of this stuff in an orderly fashion, I call it the foundational principles. Doesn't mean that it's the nth degree of where you could take that principle, but it's the basic foundation. Okay? So, you ready, Josette?
I am ready.
Okay, beautiful. So you're now working with the company. You guys are tag team. You're doing certain roles in the company, true?
I'm doing some of it, yes.
Right, some of it, right. So, picture your business like an engine. In an engine, things have to be in sync, true? If this goes tick, tock, tick, and then it goes tock, tick, tock, what's the problem with that? You might have a great tick over here. You might have the best talk over there. What happens if the tick and the talk don't go together?
The engine isn't optimized.
You want to believe it.
Yeah.
You want to believe it. Now, what does it take to stop an engine? A lot?
No.
No. One little thing that gets the tick and the talk. I'm just talking two things, right? So one of you guys is tick and the other one's talk. Okay. So when we look at it, tracking your time is not just about assessing where you put your time so that you know where you should and shouldn't put your time. And again, everybody write this down, let's listen in. This is the Coles Notes version of it. When you audit your time, that means you track your time and where you put it. Oh, it's a pain in the ass, whatever. Really? You're gonna track it 2 to 3 times a day, reflecting on, okay, where did I put my time? Okay, not that complicated, right, Mark?
Not at all.
Put a piece of paper in your freaking pocket with a pencil. Great. Write it down. Okay? But here's the beautiful thing. Especially if you are a partner-driven business, where even the other partner is not fully in it, they're just partially in it, it's just as important. It's important for you and Mark to know where you have put your time from a timeline perspective. Because the timing of things is very important. If Mark needs information for his Monday morning meeting, that starts in the morning, and your tick is at 10 o'clock and the meeting's over, and you gathered the best data, you did an amazing job. What's the problem with that, Josette?
Too late.
You frickin' right. Too late. But, no, too late. But it's really good. But it's useless. It's too late. Part of running a business is running like an engine, right? A well-oiled, synchronized machine. And the two most important people that should be in sync is who?
Us.
You want to believe it. Now, you know what's funny when I ask people to do a time audit? Funny enough, now I know it's in the training where I sort of say, focusing on where you put your time. I can't remember all the things. I think there's like 66 little trainings, right? But auditing your time, if I was to redo that video, unless it's in it right now, I would have you audit your time as a whole. The reason I get you to audit your time for your business to start with is because it's the easiest thing. That's going to have the quickest impact on your business, on your life. But I never said you shouldn't be auditing your business and your personal life. As a couple, especially a couple that's married couple, okay? Or if you're not married yet, I'm not saying you have to be married, but you get what I'm saying, okay? Because I get a lot of slack sometimes. Hey man, you use it. I'm like, come on, seriously? Oh my God. Is you need to be in sync in your life. And the only way you're going to know if you're in sync is if you know where you're putting your time. Now I'm going to go to the next stage of this, of coaching. If you're going to get more involved, which I'm hoping that you do, because I can already see you're, right, Mark? Amazing asset. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Like probably the best employee, right?
The best.
Like,
A+.
right. Is if we're going to add things to people's calendars, wouldn't it make sense that we know what the calendar looks like to begin with? And isn't it funny when we go to delegate things to people? Where am I going with this, Mark?
If you don't have a schedule and you don't know where you're going, how do you expect your staff to know where they're going to go?
Right. If Mark goes to delegate picking up material to the guys, and he doesn't have an idea of where they're putting their time, he could literally be putting them into a situation where there's no way possible that they could get everything done. So then they're going to drop what? They're going to drop a ball, right? I don't care. The best juggler in the world. There comes a point. You can't juggle. And then what happens? Does the one ball drop or is the whole fucking thing? What happens, Suzette?
One, potentially more.
Yes. Usually when you watch somebody juggling, they don't go, whoa. Usually it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And all the balls go.
Yep.
Right. So people, everybody listening, this is like some additional information. You need to both audit your time. And you need to make sure that you're looking at both your times and going, what are the things that feed each other's calendar? Right? Well, Josette, I need this on Monday. Okay, well, then I guess I need to start on this on Friday or Thursday. That would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then next thing you know, Mark's starting a Monday morning meeting, and Mark's like, oh man, fucking that meeting's going so smooth. Well, why? Well, because Josette got me all the information I needed before the Monday.
Yep.
And then think about this, everybody listening in. If that was the actual case, how much less stressful would the weekend be for you two? Or for anybody for that? True?
Yeah.
So managing your time is it's the whole picture, everybody. Right? Everybody listening in, how many of you entrepreneurs, tradies out there spend 80% of the weekends, Mark? What were you thinking on the weekends?
Oh, was that what?
What were you thinking on the weekends? How much were you thinking about business on the weekends?
All weekend long.
Why?
That's still a work in progress.
Still working.
No, it totally is. It totally is. But I'll tell you one thing. But once it gets, if it hasn't been delegated yet, one thing that's going to be under control is picking up material.
Yep.
Oh, and then another. Oh, and then another. Woo. And then it keeps going, right?
Yep.
Sure. What have been some of the other things, before we start wrapping it up, what have been some of the other things that you guys, that you've worked on, or that you're currently working on right now through, say, the foundational principles?
I would say that one of the things that is kind of goes in sequence with time management and everything is the dashboard in terms of understanding what jobs we have, the start dates, what phase they're in, and also when we're planning or should be invoicing
You
our
love
client.
that, eh?
Yes, that's my favorite one. Yeah. And just to be able to track with a simple system like red, yellow, and green, what's in jeopardy, what's not, what's going well. I think that's a good visual for us to have, a quick snapshot to see where we're going, where we are, and what we need to focus on.
Love it. Mark, what would you say to that?
Just to add a little bit more to that would be right now the biggest thing, having a schedule for the next 4 to 6 weeks is taking off so much stress for me on a daily basis right now. Being able to concentrate on more stuff that I should be doing as a CEO instead of doing employee stuff.
Just give me 1 second, guys. Okay, so getting ahead. I don't know if you guys have noticed listening to this conversation. The language of Josette and Mark has actually changed. You guys are talking proactive versus firefighting. And would that be true?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So where it starts, I want to let everybody know. It literally starts, okay, with like making that conscious choice that you're, and being, I don't know if it's being okay with it. I want to hear your thoughts from a mindset perspective. Like, contractors are stubborn, I think, for the in a lot of ways, because we have a lot of pride, but we're stubborn to get help. Would you agree with that, Mark?
Absolutely.
What would you say to somebody that's listening and going, you know what? I think I can figure this stuff out on my own.
So I've been doing it for years, saying the same thing, trying to figure it out myself, trying to take my own pride, versus anytime in the last 3 weeks we had a question, concern about anything. You guys supply a team that's unbelievable. The support team you have, plus the CEO Facebook page, is unbelievably helpful. You have answers in minutes. Because everybody's already gone through what the step we're at right now. and
Right.
people actually reply in minutes.
I love it. I love it. So, and Joseph, what would you say to that? Like, there's a lot of people that, and there, it's true. So maybe maybe not people are like, I can't believe you said this, Andrew. I'm like, hey, I'm not here to bullshit anybody. There's a lot of scams out there. There's a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of like, pie in the sky. Okay. So, no. And again, if you guys don't like to hear this, that if you're listening in, then probably now's a good time to turn it off. Sitting on top of a freaking mountain with your legs crossed, thinking I'm going to be successful, Yeah, your mind is an important thing. And it is important to be, an optimist. It just, in a lot of regards, it is important to dream. But there's a component of do. Your B times do equals have. B being you as a person spiritually is very important. But if you don't do shit in the right order and have the recipe, I don't care how badly, even if you want to make a chocolate cake.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Josette?
Yep.
If you don't have the right recipe, you're not going to get a good chocolate cake. Or it's going to take you a long time to figure it out. True?
Absolutely. And like they say, if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. And I think, and Mark, you can talk to this. Like Mark's kind of been, I've always wanted to, and always been involved with training and coaching and trying different things. And Mark's been a little bit reluctant just because been busy and overwhelmed with the business. And taking a leap of faith in this, I think, has been a really good eye opener to the possibility of what can be as opposed to what has been. And I think that that's what I've seen in Mark is like new hope, and it's like beyond what he even thought 2 weeks ago, where he thought the business could be. Now his dreams are even bigger, and his goals are bigger. And that's why I want to be more involved now, because I see the potential also, as opposed to being drug in the mud and like in the day-to-day grind and just feeling like, we're just slugging it and it's not working, or it's not working as fast as we'd like to. This is an opportunity to jump on board and just move a little bit faster, but in a sequenced and orderly fashion to start seeing progress right away. And if people are, I guess, not sure, then the only thing that I could say is try it. And if you're not satisfied with it, then I'll be surprised.
That's awesome. Well said. I love it. And those listening in again, if you want to get, I think, a taste of it, I mean, it's only fair that there's, we have different, we got different things for different people at different levels, right? And for me to go and help 100,000 people, I can't just be trying to address like one audience. I get it if you're, they call it Bob in the truck, whether it was Andrew in the truck at one point, it was Mark in the truck at one point. I mean, we all start with, in a lot of cases, just us, right? In the very beginning. That's okay. It's okay. And you have to digest things at your own pace. So again, if you guys want to take a look at some of these tools, templates, what the recipe looks like, seriously, like look at the recipe. I think that's a huge thing to go, wait a second, it makes sense. And that's, in our kickoff session, that's when I was explaining, like, this is the order and this is why, and I'm going to tell you guys at a high level, everybody listening in, including you guys, just as a refresher, just so that you get what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to spend like 30 seconds on it. So here we go. First place you have to focus in on is your time and your team. I said your time. Then say your team's time first. Your time. So time and team is first. Knowing where you're going so your team can help you get there, super important. Next is profits and cash flow. Wait a second, Andrew. It should be marketing and sales. No, it's profits and cash flow. Why? Well, you're doing work right now. You're about to do work. Either that or you haven't even opened up your contracting business. Okay? So you have to make sure that you're making money on the work you're doing right now, not the work that you're going to get down the road. Because if you cannot
run your jobs profitably now, I guarantee you're not quoting your jobs profitably, and the next job is not going to be ran profitably. Would that be true, Mark? Is that right? And why profits? Because your profits feed your cash flow. And back to that time and team, your profits and cash flow are driven by your calendar. You're spending your life putting out fires and doing minimum wage. I'm not putting it down, delivering material, and you're the owner. Then guess what? That little paycheck at the end of the year is going to be a complete reflection of that. So time and team, profits and cash flow, right? Josette nailed it, okay? If you want to make sure that you get your cash flow, one of the 10, I'm not going to go through all 10, but you can say one of the 10 to get better cash flow, okay? We've talked actually about two, actually three of them. One of them is making sure you invoice, right? Making sure your jobs are profitable. Because if your jobs aren't profitable, you're screwed, okay? And making sure that you're doing profitable things with your time. All those things, if they're profitable, you'll have cash flow. There's no question. It's inevitable. Simple math, right? Next is marketing and sales. And marketing and sales is super critical. If you're not analyzing those jobs you're doing, how in God's name will you ever know which jobs are the right jobs? Mark, this is going to be like, we got 2 minutes, we'll wrap it up as this. Tell us about the roofing.
For 5 years in renovation, we've had a hard time making a profit on the roofing job. Andrew, you've coached me to have chats with my team ahead of time, plan things. So that morning before we started this past week roofing job, I went on site. I told the boys what I expected in hours of how long it was going to take. And the boys, for the first time in 5 years, achieved 5 hours less than what I had budgeted. First time in 5 years.
Guys, seriously. Awesome, ain't you, Jose?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and he's going to be able to invoice and make money on it. Okay? If he didn't, Mark and Josette weren't focused on where they wanted to go, Mark would have never had the meeting with the guys. Then the guys wouldn't have been able to manage their time properly. Yeah, everybody following this? Then the guys wouldn't have been able to run the jobs properly. Pretty good, huh? Then they wouldn't have been able to, which is going to come up soon, invoice. And if they did invoice, it wouldn't matter anyways because they would have lost money, which is cash flow. Which then, looking at marketing and sales, and I'm not saying that this is the absolute Mark, but Mark could have went, that's it. I'm not doing any more roofs. He can't make any fucking money on roofs. And so what he would have done, everybody listening, would have stopped marketing, would have stopped taking requests to do roofs. Meanwhile, maybe roofs might make, I don't know, lots and lots of money if he properly communicates. So guys, time and team, profits and cash flow, marketing and sales. That's the high level sequence, and there has to be a recipe that backs it up. So, Mark and Josette, what would be some of the last words of advice that you would say to anybody listening in on this? Even the part of the Profit for Contractors family, what would you say to them?
In 3 weeks, I'm blown away with the support that your team up front does. The CEO program off the Facebook, like I said, is tremendous. The feedback you get there, the answers, how quickly you get it. Just for an example, the other day, I've been thinking about a form in my head for the last year and a half, and somebody mentioned it on Facebook, and within a second, they got it. I've been thinking about that for a year and a half. It would be nice to have a form set up.
You just want to grab it.
It was right there.
Put your name on, and you're good to go.
Yep.
Love it. Okay, Josette, what would you say?
If you're interested in making improvemements in your business, then you absolutely owe it to yourself to consider the program.
I love it. Okay. And guys, listen, I really appreciate, I'll be honest with everybody listening in. I didn't expect Josette and Mark to highlight Profit for Contractors so much as far as get help. I think it's awesome. I really appreciate you guys doing that. With that being said, look, raise your hand, get help. There's a complimentary contractor tips group. It's got over 3,000 contractors in it, and not everybody's part of the Profit for Contractors Champion CEO family. But you got to get started. You got to be surrounded by people that can help you. You cannot do it alone. Whether you're in the contractor tips group whether you become a part of the family or you don't. But you definitely want to become a part of a community that is trusted, that are making and getting results versus like coulda, shoulda, woulda, pie in the sky shit, sit on the mountaintop. Like, so no offense. You know, if you got to have a sequence, you got to have a recipe. There is a recipe. There's an order. I already gave you guys some insights on where to start. I thank you very much, guys, for all the progress that you've made, because it means a lot to me that we're able to help you guys with your business. And honestly, that you guys let us into your life and your business, because it's a huge thing, right? You're literally sharing personal things here today, and I appreciate that, because, and hopefully those listening in appreciate it. So thank you very much, guys, and we will talk to you minimum Tuesday, 1:00 on the new client onboarding session. And by the way, I'm referring to Marc and Jeanette, everybody listening in. Right? Good, guys?
Sounds good.
Okay, catch you later. Cheers.
All right.
Thank you.
Send us a picture, post it in the group. If you do get that progress to profit board up, that whiteboard, do the old picture, post it, ask how other people have done it. I don't know. Let's keep leapfrogging decades to days. Catch you guys later. Ciao.